So it's Women to Work and Recharge Together. And I'd like to introduce Terri Chandler, and she works at AM Radio 950.
Well, good morning and hello, everyone. As Sherry said, I am Terri Chandler with WWJ News Radio 950. But in addition to being all of that, I'm a recharger. And you know what? I never used that term to describe myself before today. But after thinking about it, that's exactly what I am. Because I recharged my career at the age of 49, and I know that if I can do it, all of you can do it too. And I like to say what helped me and what I think will help you is hard work. It wasn't easy. I'm not going to stand here and pretend that it was. Perseverance, focus, and being open to new opportunities. Also, if you are an expert at something, use that to your advantage. If you're not right now, you can become an expert in something if that's what you desire to do. But also, find a niche or create one for yourself. And that's one of the things that I did that really helped me. So, I'll go a little bit through how I did it. Now, before I became a recharger, I was the owner of PR Media Services, and we were a pretty successful small business. Kmart was my largest client. We also worked with Ford Motor Company, AC Delco, US Car, Comerica Bank, Entertainment Publications, and Forcia and Meritor, which are two Fortune 500 companies. However, what happened, who would have ever thought that Kmart would file for bankruptcy? You know, Kmart kept us so busy that we didn't really worry about anything. And what we did for them was, back in the 90s, when I started working with them, they opened store after store after store. It was the new store openings everywhere across the country. So what we did was we would send out press releases all across the country wherever they had a store that was opening, or they might have had a, like this Sesame Street, for instance, a new clothing line they were introducing for the children. They also had us working on their Kmart racing program. And that was Mario Andretti and Michael Andretti, John Andretti. They would go around to different stores and they would take these autograph cards and we would ship them. We had a warehouse. And we would ship these to them, and then the people that would come to the event would get an autographed card from the celebrity. We also worked with Kathy Ireland, Martha Stewart. Business was great. So again, whoever thought that that business would fail? Well, it did. And I had some decisions to make. Was I going to continue to, go along with the other clients that I had, which were not nearly as big as Kmart, or was I going to go back to my first love, which was radio and TV? And this business was similar, so I loved it. It was great because it was still in the industry, but it was just a little bit different. So I said, you know what, I want to go back to my first love. Fortunately, I had saved enough money for about a year that I knew I could maintain my standard of living, but I said, you know what, I think I'm going to go back to school because that's what's going to help me get where I wanted to go. So in May 2005, I decided that I was going to go back to school, and that came to me because I said, you know what, if I want to get back into radio and TV at my age, which is pretty much kind of unheard of, how do I do that? So I said, I got to think how a young person would think. What would a young person do if they were just starting out? Or when I was just starting out, what would I do? And I knew that if I went back to school, I could qualify for an internship because you can't really intern and they don't pay you. It's against the law. So I said, okay, I'll go back to school. So I went to, even though I graduated from Wayne State, I said I need to improve my skills because I wanted to work on the air. I didn't want to go back to doing what I was doing before. Before I was just a producer, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way, it's just not what I wanted to do long term. So I went back to school and I studied radio and TV broadcasting. Part of that was a lot of on-air work. So I put together some demos, but also, as I mentioned, I started interning. There was a gentleman by the name of Jim Fordyce who worked for ABC 53. He was a news director. And he came to the school, and I sat down and talked to him, and he said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I would like to be an intern. And he kind of looked at me like, okay. But he gave me an opportunity. So I drove to Lansing. I commuted back and forth, and I But I'm the kind of person, if you give me an opportunity, I'm going to work my butt off. So I worked really, really hard, and then he hired me as a freelance reporter producer. So I was producing the 6 and 11 o'clock news and also reporting part-time. Then I heard about an opportunity at the local radio station, which was owned by, I can't remember the lady's name, Mrs. got her name. But she was getting ready to sail. So I worked there for maybe about 6 or 7 months, and I had a fantastic job. I was doing one of the things I really wanted to do. In addition to the job at WLAJ 53, I was the midday host for 1180 WXLA, and I got that job because this other young lady was moving out of state, and I came along at the right time, and I convinced the news director that I could do this job, and plus I had demos and just, I guess, persuasive. So I ended up getting that job, which I loved. I worked as the host. I would, of course, play music, but also I got a chance to interview Governor Granholm at the time, Charlie Bell, when he was a big star at Michigan State, and a lot of other people. So that was my dream job. I loved it. And then lo and behold, the station was sold, but the new owner came in, McDonald Broadcasting, and he hired me because, again, he saw that I had experience and I was working hard, and I really loved it and wanted to stay, so I got the job as the local host. Now, a lot of you have probably heard of Tom Joyner.
Yes.
Okay, well, they have what you call the local cut-ins. So Tom Joyner was syndicated in Lansing at the time, and I was a local host. So I would do the traffic, the weather, news, and entertainment news. And then I ended up progressing. The owner promoted me to the managing editor of that station, Power 96.5, 1180 WXLA, which is where I was the midday host, and then they were changing the format, so that's why I ended up going over to Power 96.5. And he had another station, 1320 WILS. So I was doing all of those jobs. And then I went back to WWJ, and I said, hey, look at my experience now. I'm on the air. I'm doing a great job. You know, you guys should give me an opportunity. So it wasn't easy to convince them, but I put together more demos, started doing work on the weekends as a reporter, and then one thing led to another, and that helped me become the film critic. Now, when I say create your own opportunities, that's exactly what I did, because there was no one at the station doing entertainment news or movie reviews, and I love movies. I could go to the movie every week, and now as a film critic, I go probably twice a week, and I don't have to pay because it's part of my job, but I watch the movies and then I write up my reviews, and you'll hear them on Fridays, and I also post them on the station's website as well as my own blog. But doing that, one day I got a phone call at the age of 60, so I'm 60 now. I'm thinking, you know, this is the ultimate. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm happy. Lee Thomas calls me from Fox 2, and I'm like, wow, what does Lee Thomas want with me? So I answered the phone, and he says, Terry, how would you like to be a guest movie critic? And I'm like, sure, I'll do it. So I did that for a while, which was another, I don't even want to say it was a dream come true, because I never dreamed that that would happen. So you just never know what opportunities might present themselves. And then another thing that happened to me was, as a film critic, because I love movies so much, I decided that I wanted to make a movie. So I made a short film. And after finishing that film, I said to myself, my goodness, if somebody can finish this, they can do anything, because making a movie is harder than it looks. I had to write the script, cast, get the crew, and it was a major project. So I said, you know what? When I'm reviewing movies, I said, one of the things I noticed is that, and there's nothing wrong with this, because if Brad Pitt deserves to be awarded, then I'm glad Brad Pitt's being awarded. But I noticed that a lot of the same actors were getting awarded all the time. And a lot of the people that you may never hear about, but they're really talented, never get nominated. So I said, you know what, I'm going to create an awards program for them. And at first I was just joking around. And my coworker said, you should do it, it's a great idea. So it took me about a year, and I went to Build Institute and did a business plan to make sure that when I put this together, it was a viable product. And so I did that for a year, and then in 2018, in August, we launched the ICU Awards, and it's developed specifically for low budget, meaning $700,000 or less, So a lot of these films are really, really good. I mean, some of these movies that are shown, you could actually see them at any theater. They're just that good. There's some talented filmmakers out there. And this is what we do. Just like the Academy Awards on Sunday, we hand out awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor and Actress, etc. And the filmmakers tell me that they love it because they have never had anything like it before. And another thing that I did is it's a black tie. We wanted to make sure that they felt special. And it's blue carpet. So I wanted to do something that was different. Everybody has a red carpet, so we have a blue carpet. And then another thing that happened to me in January of this year, January 5th, actually I got the call from Julie Hines in right around November, Thanksgiving. And she said, well, you know, I know it's the holiday, but I really want you to be one of my movie experts. That turned out to be a fantastic opportunity. And this is it was on the front page. And I thought it was going to be in the entertainment section. So my mom gets the paper delivered to her. And I said, Mom, can you look for the paper for me and look and see? And she said, I can't find it. It's not in there. And then she called me back a little later and said, it's on the front page. So I was like, oh, wow. So, of course, and this picture here is actually from the online version, which was really nice. And it was trending. So that made me feel really good. Okay, now another perk of being a film critic, and this is something else that I would have never dreamed would ever happen to me, but I got a call from Netflix, and they said, Terri, how would you like to come out to New York? We're doing they call them junkets. A junket is where you get to go out and meet the cast and crew and people behind the scenes of the movie. And would you like to come out? So I said, of course. So they flew me out to New York, and they put me up in this gorgeous hotel and just wined and dined us, and we saw the movie. And that year, as you might know, Alfonso Cuarón won, I believe, Best Director and a lot of awards, and it was just a phenomenal time. And then in October, I flew out to Los Angeles. I got another call, and they said, do you want to come out? Robert De Niro is going to be there.
Oh, boy.
I was like, Robert De Niro, yes! So, and when we got there, it wasn't just Robert De Niro. It was Al Pacino and Martin Scorsese.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that was just a fantastic time. And I didn't want to make this presentation too long, but we got some fantastic pictures on the red carpet, and it was just a wonderful opportunity. And then after that, if you think that's something, Eddie Murphy. They called me and said, Eddie Murphy's going to be promoting his new movie, Dolomite Is My Name. So I said, yes, I'm coming. So, and I was tired from just coming back from LA, but my husband said, you know what, if you don't go, I'm going. So I said, okay. So I packed my bags and went back, and then I got to meet Eddie Murphy, and he was really, really nice. And that was a wonderful time. And the place that they had us go to was like, just like you see in the movies, the Hollywood Hills. We were up in the Hollywood Hills looking out over this beautiful, just scenery was phenomenal. And then just a little while ago in January, I was invited. It was only 5 of us from, they called us the Detroit contingent. And there was one young lady from New York. So it was 4 from Detroit and 1 from New York. And we flew out to Atlanta for the set visit of the movie Respect. And that's the movie about Aretha Franklin's life. And that's coming out in the fall. But I couldn't pass that up either. But all these opportunities, so you just never know. You know, once you recharge your career and get out there and, you know, go for what you want, you just never know what opportunities might come. So that's pretty much it for what I have to say. But I just wanted to say thank you again for having me. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I'm a freelance writer, and I've been writing now for 10 years. And I always thought that one thing was going to lead to another. And I just feel like it hasn't happened yet. I mean, I have a stack of clips that I could fill, you know, an encyclopedia with, but I don't know how to take that to the next level. I mean, I've written about it in a variety of things. I just don't know how to get that out.
But everything nowadays is going digital. You know, like, we had a phone call the other day at the radio station, and this guy says, I'm listening to you because I'm from Detroit, but I live in Mississippi now. So he's online listening to us. You know, so everything nowadays is really online. So I would suggest doing that, but also reach out to, you know, Huffington Post and some of those other sites and see, pitch them and see what they have to say, and just keep, don't give up, because writing is hard, because I write too and I know how hard it is, so just, don't give up, just keep going. And the other thing that helped me is joining a writer's group. Are you in a writer's group?
No.
Join a writer's group, because I joined one. I met my writing partner. I was writing by myself for the longest time, and I wrote my first short film by myself. And then I went to this writer's group, and I drove to Monroe, because I'm one of those people, So I drove to Monroe, and that's where I met Ted. He's my writing partner, and we wrote my second short film, and that was just an official selection in San Diego. So I would say, if you, maybe join a writer's group, because you just never know who you might meet.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Adrienne.
So you were talking about making this decision about going back to school, which is a pretty big investment, I think, for most people that are around 50 and thinking, will this pay off by the time I really want to not work anymore? Coming back into the market, were people looking at you, you said you had to convince people. Sometimes people think that, you can hire somebody that's younger that has years of experience. So was that a challenge for you at all? Thinking I have to resell myself and market myself at a different level?
Yes, it was. And if I hadn't met Jim Fordyce, the news director in Lansing at the TV station, I don't know what career, what direction it would have taken me, but you just never know. It just takes one person to change your life.
Yeah.
So if one person tells you no, and I don't want to make it sound rosy, because because I know it's hard, but I would say just don't give up. Prove that you can do it. Just like I was telling this young lady over here, if it's something you can start on your own, start it. There's so many people that have these gifts and talents that they don't utilize. So if I were looking for a job on radio or TV, I'd have to have like a website that shows all those skills that I have, because that's nowadays, that's how it is. In the old days, we could just mail a DVD or something like that. So that's what I would suggest. Try to find, another way to do it. But again, keep applying, because if you could just meet that one person, that person might say, I see something in you, and give you a shot. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being here, and I believe in you, and that's all that matters. If you believe in you, then just go for it. Thank you.